Good morning here, ladies. I'm just so excited every day to be with you all at the summit. Introduction, very brief. I'm Mary Axness. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I am 69 years old, 69 years young, and I feel like I am growing younger every other day. I want to tell you my big yes to HerStory Summit. I met Gertrude after my mom died. I had a year of really down in the valley, even though I know it's just like dark shadow over me, but I was clinically depressed. So I had to take some supplement. But that was short-lived because I realized that there's a shift coming. And about 2 months prior to my mom's calling from Hong Kong, she was a month short of 90 years old, and she lived a life of sacrificial love. And part of my journey from last year on to now is about honor, is about how to carry on that legacy that she left me. And out of it, at October or November last year, I published a book called The Journey of My China Vase, and started with my grandchildren to work backwards. And now after backwards, I'm working forward. My work is really seems spread out, but there is a theme to it. That theme is about building wellness by design. For many years, since 1972, when I was in college, I wanted to study nutrition, but various reasons I'm unable to fulfill that assignment. But I became a wife to a very possessive, capable, brilliant doctor. And my life seemed like it was snuffed away. But for 17 years, I stayed home. And I read this one book called In Search of Significance. And I wanted to know, because I've got so many dreams. I'm a very creative person. I love to be a good wife, a good mother, a good daughter, everything else. So I used that time to start making a plan, not just how to be a good mother, but I got involved in a lot of community activities to fill my cup, because we moved at least 12 times since we got married. And I have a degree in naturopathic medicine, but a little bit similar to Michelle Jones, wherever my husband's skill is needed, he would pick the whole family up and move and relocate. And I never had the problem of trying to find myself. I know what my purpose is, but God keep adding on to it. So I'm so excited to talk a little bit about what is building wellness by design. As a little girl, my father was just the best father. And then through some failure in his life, he fell really hard. And I think he may have had some mental illness, but he turned into the most abusive, violent person. And from 8 years old on, I realized, man, that's no longer my dad. And that's not my problem, it's his. So my mind actually says, I'm going to send him to Tibet so I don't have to deal with it. However, it doesn't work that way. But life has offered me so many opportunities. When I decided to leave Hong Kong, I realized down the road, I want to pursue wellness. And how to design my own health journey. And being a naturopath, went to school, but I never really practiced because I took on a huge project. It's called being a missionary to China, and reconnected with over 100 family members, and many of them are government officials. So it was like going back to a foreign country and they call me American, even though I look Chinese. So that was what Danny and we kind of talked a little bit about that. But what is wellness? As a little girl, wellness involve letting offenses go. If you hold on to offenses and trying to control things other than yourself, ain't gonna work. After 42 years of marriage, we're still exploring my marriage. But during the journey of 42 years, my husband and I were separated for a year and a half. He was very successful to a point that he forgot what the purpose of the marriage was. So I said, time out. We're going to reevaluate. I said, I am the Holy of Holies. You don't touch me anytime when you want. And I'm going to have to reassess. Now, he's almost 6 foot and I'm barely 5 foot. And I do have skills. However, I had nobody to talk with because all my family members are in Hong Kong or in China. So at times I feel alone, but when I let my father go, it's like, this is not my responsibility. I have an internal boundaries that you will not touch this. That includes trust, that includes physical involvement, that includes emotional engagement. So I had to learn to reshape, reassess, and then relaunch. Every now and then I will relaunch. And so in my work as a naturopath, I do see people and I would tell them, your wealth is really your health from the inside out. And they don't understand what I'm saying. They just wanted a prescription. I said, no, what is the cost? So half the time I would ask people, who has broken your heart? And that's when tears come. So I become not just a practitioner, but a coach. And from there, I really grew a capacity to work with not just women, but men. When you ask them who broke your heart, big football players, they will talk. Like the previous TED Talk, if you are willing to listen, oh my. And so what happened is I would, of course, introduce what is best for them for physical recovery, but I would always says, you need to pay attention to this area if you want to, engage with me. And guess what? The husband will bring a wife will bring another family members, and that's how my practice grew. But as time goes, especially after my mother died, when someone near and dear to you who's your hero, you really want to reassess where you're going and who you really are. Well, perfect timing that Get You got a hold of me. I don't even know how. Because I wanted to publish this story into different languages. And she said, well, I have a publishing company and I can do that. I said, okay. And then she invited me to talk. Now, I'm not a big talker. She will tell you, Mary, you need to improve. But guess what? I just feel like little Shirley Temple because, because I'm not an entertainer, but there's a way we could say things without being combative. There's a way we can talk to people being gentle and listening and asking for feedback. So before I turn 70, I have decided to, with my husband now, it did take a lot of work, believe me. Reevaluating and recultivating your inner landscape is growing a garden, because so many people asking, Mary, how is your garden growing? I said, this garden is growing well. How's yours? So to cultivate your inner landscape does require taking back into your childhood, recovering and rediscovering not just the good times as well as the bad times, but to understand what monkey is controlling your back, what baggage you're carrying that is just bringing you down and low. So we older women, my son-in-law next year, next May, is coming from California to celebrate my 70th birthday. He said he wants to have a big party. And I said, well, I will hold you to it, you know. So anyway, we older women, I feel that at this time of my life, not just feeling good, looking good, but we can teach, and we have an assignment to teach the younger women. Number one, respect yourself. You should be the first to be honored. Now, when I said I had the difficulty with my marriage, my husband came from a lineage that women don't count. And I discovered very quickly. So what happened is I have to set a lot of limits, a lot of boundaries, communicate to understand where he's coming from, and explain to him that ain't gonna work. And so he has to realize I mean business. Now, I have not worked full-time for a long time, so technically I'm not very skillful. However, he said, don't mess with the Chinese women that have lived in America for a long time. Today, I can say we are celebrating our 43rd wedding. He recognized that she stand up and I had to sit down. So with that said, we are prepping for a retreat center because he's a physician. So we've been used to talking with a group of women and men. I have no problem standing up to a man. Even though they looked down at me, I said, buddy, I'm gonna back off so you can look a little bit more, you know, on the eye level. Or actually one time I stood up on a chair, I said, let's talk now. So my goal is to have a retreat center to transition people with Gertrude's coaching, is to enlist busy, successful people. They're very busy and successful on the outside, but the inside they hurt like hell. So to do what? To compile their legacy story, to be true, to become a freedom ambassador. Whether you like it or not, you're ambassador of the country you're from. And you know what? I tell people when we're on the airplane, where are you from? I said, I can't say I'm Chinese or Japanese because in the summertime, my skin turns so dark, they think I'm Filipino. But then in the wintertime, it turns so white, they think I'm Japanese. So I said, how about call me a Heavenese? And that's when I stopped them on track. They said, Heavenese? I said, well, I don't go to a building full of church. I said, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth. And I'm a Heavenese. Because I don't want to talk about church. Church is a building. But I want to talk about relationship with my Heavenly Father, my relationship with myself, my relationship horizontally with the people, and there are orders to that. So the retreat center is about eating well and then feeding well in the inside out. And the website is completing this week. So I hope I'll have a better bio than what I have now. So thank you for listening. I hope you all have a niece.